lovelies. Today we are talking books. So, I don't know if you guys are avid readers or if you read at all, but I love to read. And, I've always loved to read ever since I was a little kid. I really had a passion for reading. When I had kids in my early 20s that kind of died off, you know, taking care of the babies, up all night long, working full time, all of that. But then as the kids started getting a little bit older, my oldest will be 10 in a couple of weeks, I was able to pick reading back up and really be able to sit down and read, and you know, the kids are playing by themselves, and so I've really been able to rediscover reading, especially this last year, and I've had a great time reading some really amazing books, and I thought it would be really fun to do a new segment on my channel, kind of like, you know, the books I've read through the month and my reviews on them, and what I thought and if I thought it was worth reading. So the first two books that I'm going to review today are my January picks. So I'm sure that you guys have heard of these. These books are from Gillian Flynn. This is Gone Girl and this is Dark Places. Gillian Flynn has really just exploded onto the writing scene this last year, especially with Ben Affleck starring in the Gone Girl movie that they made based on the book. I have yet to see the movie. One of my new things that I'm trying really hard to do is to read the book before I watch the movie. However, total random side note, Maze Runner just came out and I will not be reading that book before I watch that movie. Dylan O'Brien is one of my favorite actors ever, and I will be watching that movie before I read that book. Okay, sorry, random side note over. Anyways, so Gillian Flynn has written 3 novels now. She has Sharp Objects is the other novel that I don't have here today. I have read that, however, and it is really good as well. So, I really wanted to just take the time and talk about these books a little bit. These are my January picks. I really enjoy reading Gillian Flynn novels, and I cannot wait for her to come out with another one as soon as she does, and every time after that I will be just picking it right up and reading it. She has an amazing way with words and crafting of stories that, I mean, every time I've read one of her novels and I've gotten to the end, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? So, I mean, she just really has this way to keep me engaged, keep me wanting to read, and it's amazing. I love it when you can just read an author and, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, and then you pick up another one of their books and you're just like, oh my gosh, that one was even better, and it's just her writing just keeps getting better and better and better, and she is just phenomenal. So let's talk about each of these books individually, and then, excuse me, I have a cold. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a cold, so apologize if I sound, you know, stuffy and head-like. But, so let's talk about each one of these books individually. Okay, so let's start with Gone Girl. So Gone Girl, you know, a lot of people have heard of this book. A lot of people have probably read this book by now. But, I had read Sharp Objects first. That was actually the first book of hers that I read, and I read it early last year. And I really liked it. And then I got on the whole 50 Shades of Grey kick, and I read all 3 of those books. And then I read The Fault in Our Stars, and I read something else, and then I was like, okay, it's time for me to go back, and I want to finish reading the other 2 books, the other 2 Gillian Flynn books. So I read Gone Girl next, and this book is just like, Gillian Flynn really writes some really twisted stuff. So her storylines and plots are really twisted. If you are not the I wouldn't necessarily consider myself the psychological thriller mystery type of reader. I really like chick lit and funny, you know, stuff, but every once in a while it's just like pick up these like really like twisted weird books and I'm like, yeah, that was freaking awesome. So that's kind of what Gone Girl was like for me. The writing is impeccable in the book, I think. The storyline and the plot twists are just remarkable. And the way that Gillian developed the characters throughout the book was just insane. I just absolutely loved it. And I ended up hating both of the characters at the end of the book, just like utterly hating them, but yet wanting to keep reading about them. I know, it's just like such a weird thing. But this book, you know, flow-wise for me, it jumps back and forth between characters, and so at some points, if you like pick this book up and you read it and then you put it down and then you don't read it for like another 5 days, you're going to have to flip back to the pages. Even if you're reading it like the next day, you might have to flip back to some prior chapters and be like, okay, when did that happen? And when did this happen? And yeah, but overall, I mean, just I know why this is the #1 New York Times bestseller. This definitely deserved to be #1 New York Times bestseller. And I cannot wait to see the movie. It was just so, so good. So this book really just, I mean, kept me engaged. I like read this thing in like less than a week. It was, yeah, love it. Okay, so the next book is Dark Places. So Dark Places is a little bit more gruesome and grotesque, if you will. If you are not into like horror movies, or like I said, like psychological thrillers or anything like that, like, I mean, I know I just said I like chick lit and funny, and those are the types of books that I normally like really just like go for. Like if I walk into a bookstore, I'm gonna be like, oh, chick lit, here we go. This is totally what I'm getting. But I can appreciate and love a good horror movie or story, a good gruesome twisted tale, a good mystery. And if you don't like those kinds of things like whatsoever, like if they make your stomach turn, or you know, you're just like, oh, I can't stand this, you will not like this book. I'm just saying that straight out. You're not going to like it if you don't like those things. However, that being said, this book was also just amazing. Like I said, it's more, Gone Girl is more of like a psychological thriller, lots of plot twists going on. This one is more of a murder mystery, and it is a bit more gruesome detailing wise, but overall, I just, you know, the whole thing was just fantastic. Dark Places, character-wise, is amazing. Gillian Flynn is just, like, phenomenal with crafting characters. She crafted, like, over, like, 7 characters in this book for me that stood out, that were just like, geez, like, I got them. Like, I could picture them in my head. I could, like, you know, understand where they were coming from on their points of views and what they were doing, and like her characters, man, the way that she makes them jump off the page is just insane. The flow of this book is fantastic. It flows really well. Again, this is another one of those books where it is kind of the same sort of setup as Gone Girl, in terms of it jumps back and forth from time period to time period, character to character, who's speaking, what's happening with this person. So a lot of times I had to go back just for date reference in this one. Not to go back and say like, oh, I forgot what happened, or I can't remember what that character did. But this book I had to flip back pages because I wanted to know, oh yeah, what date was that happened, and then what date was this that happened. So yeah, there was some of that going on, but this was like a breeze read for me. Like I probably read this, I think, in like 3 days, but not that it's a breeze as in it's a simple book, because it's really not simple. This is a super heavy book, but gosh, Jillian is just, I really cannot say enough good things about her. So my books for January are Gone Girl and Dark Places, and I will add Sharp Objects in there if you have not. I don't have that book to show you, but if you have already read these 2 books and you haven't read that one, then pick that one up because it is just as good as these 2 books. Let me know in the comments below if you've read these books and what you thought of them, if you like absolutely hated them or if you love them, if you are now just like huge, crazy Gillian Flynn fanatic like I am now. I cannot believe like how excited I am to find out if she's writing another novel and when it's coming out, and you know, just I'm telling everybody about these books. It's insane. That's how much of an impression she made on me with her writing. So leave me a comment, let me know if you've read these, if you liked them. Or leave me a comment, let me know if you picked them up because I recommended them and what you thought of them when they were done. And if you have any suggestions on books for me to read throughout 2015, I'm going to try to do a monthly review of the books that I'm reading. And I would love to add some books to my list and make my list a little bit longer and pick up some. I'm currently right now in the process of reading The Last Anniversary by Lane Moriarty, so I'll be talking about that. Yeah, so let me know what your recommendations are for me to read, and I will look at those books, and then maybe if I get them and read them, we'll do a review and talk about them. So I hope that you guys are as excited as I am about this new video segment that I'm going to be doing about the book reviews and the books that I've been reading. So if you did like this, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love it if you did. I would appreciate it so much. And make sure that you leave me a comment and say hi. Alright everybody, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.